Hey everyone, I'm Justin Miller with the Chong Miller Group. At the Chong Miller Group, we help people buy and sell homes, including condos and townhomes. We help people build wealth through real estate. This is the November 2023 real estate market update for resale condos and townhomes here in the Las Vegas Valley. Now, I'm going to switch it up slightly this time. I'm going to do townhomes first, but before I do, please, if you've not already subscribed, smash the like button, hit the notification bell, and let's dive right into the information. Now, this is the November market update, which means that we're using data from the month of October. I pulled the data on November 7th. I record the video on November 7th, and this is the complete data for October of 2023 from the multiple listing service, as well as a couple of other sources that I utilize to create these videos. All right, first thing, townhome pricing. Good news here. Townhome pricing, $335,000 at the median at the end of the month of October of 2023. That is up $15,000 or 4.7% from the $320,000 that we saw at the end of September of 2023. It is also up 4.7% from the $320,000 that we saw at the end of October last year. Now, you'll remember prices had peaked in May, come back down, and actually in the townhome market space, we saw a 1 to 2 month sharp drop in pricing from the peak and had been relatively stable since that time. A little bit of fluctuation up and down every month. We seem to have broken out of that stable trend line, and we've come back up to 335 now. So that's really good. Now, this up 4.7%, I do want to contrast that with single family housing, just because it's interesting. Single family housing has recovered from 1 year ago, 1.7%. So relatively speaking, townhome prices have had a stronger recovery. It's been a little bit faster, it's had more stability, and it's been a stronger recovery. So this is the second month, actually it's the third month we've seen this year where townhome prices have been up year on year. First month for single family homes to show year on year price improvement. Now, price is great. That's where buyer and seller meet in the market and agree to a transaction. But we want to have some information that tells us about demand, and we want to have some information that tells us about supply. So let's first look at the demand indicators. The demand indicators are contracts that have been written that have either closed sales, or that are still pending contracts or open escrows. Now, why do I say that's a demand indicator? Because there are no transactions that take place without buyers. So every buyer that gets into a contract, that's a showing of demand. Every buyer that gets into a contract, whether pending or closed, that is a statement of the number of buyers who are out there who are willing to put a contract into existence and work through that contract. Now, why is that not a showing of supply? There are other things we can look at for supply, such as number of houses that are listed, number of houses that become listed. But for buyers, we don't have an aggregate pool of how many buyers are actually looking at any one time. All we know is we have evidence of buyer materialized when a contract is written. So that's how we see what demand is in the marketplace. So how many closed sales took place for townhomes in Las Vegas in October of 2023? 183. Now, this number is actually shockingly stable from the prior month and over the course of the prior year. Prior month, 185, so we're down 2 townhomes. Basically, we're flat. 182 the prior year. So we're up 1 townhome. We're basically perfectly flat from where we were last year. That's for the number of closed townhomes. Now, of course, over the year there's been fluctuation, but the numbers in October of 2023 and October of 2022, as well as September of 2023, for demand, closed townhomes, almost identical. What about pending? That's contracts have been written, escrows have been opened, but have not yet closed. They're still going through the transaction. October of 2023, 191 townhomes went into contract that have not yet closed. That number is down. It's actually down 11 from the 202 that went into contract in September of 2023. That's down 5.4%. And we're down 7 from the 198 that went into contract in October of 22. So that's down 3.5%. So slight weakening, but these are very small number differences. So basically, again, like with the closed contracts, pending contracts basically flat in the townhome space. And what that suggests to us is actually townhome demand has been very resilient, even in the face of increasing townhome prices and in the face of very significantly increasing interest rates on mortgages that would apply to townhomes. So that's actually really good news. Demand has been very strong here. Now, what about supply? Supply, on the other hand, is kind of interesting. 487 townhomes listed for sale at the end of October of 2023. That number is down 1.4%, just very slightly from the 494 that we saw listed at the end of September of 2023. Now, this is actually the third month of real stability, almost flat numbers, slightly up, slightly down, on townhome supply. So that's really good. And this is actually different than most of the other portions of the real estate market here in the Las Vegas Valley. So that's great. But I will point out this is stabilized at a very low level of supply. So last year, October 2022, we had 926 townhomes for sale. We're down 47.4% from that number. That number was down slightly from the prior month. We had peak inventory last year in September of 2022. So we had come down to 926 in October of 22. But this is actually still, even though at very low levels, this is good news in that we're not seeing further deterioration in the inventory levels, the supply levels for townhomes. Now, I will caution you, of course, we're going into, we're now in November, we're going into December. Those are the weakest months of the year for inventory. Also for newly listed, we'll look at in a second. And so we expect to see some inventory, some supply coming out of the market over the remainder of this year, but those should be pretty minor, relatively speaking, certainly not like the massive decreases in inventory that we've been seeing earlier in 2023. Newly listed resale townhomes, 267. That's down from 305. That's down 12.5%. And again, this is part of that seasonal downtrend. In October, we start to see a decrease every year in newly listed product. We see it in November, we see it in December. And so newly listed will be coming down, which drives down the overall inventory number. So right now, we came down 12.5% on the newly listed. Inventory came down only 1.4%. So good news. Of course, that's partly because the number of sales is not super strong right now. Interestingly, in October of 2022, we also had 305 newly listed townhomes coming into the market. So we're down again 12.5% from that number. So overall, If you had not been paying attention over the course of the intervening months between last year and this year, it looks like the market's been very stable for townhomes, except that inventory's come down 47.4%. Supply has come way down. Demand has held up really well, as both written contracts that have not yet closed and written contracts that have closed, and pricing has held up well. In fact, is up a little bit year over year, up 4.7%, month over month, up 4.7%. Now, the bad news in the townhome space is this: back on market remain very elevated. 97 townhomes last month came back into the market. That means their escrows failed, the transactions collapsed, and so those townhomes are now available for sale again. That's really unfortunate. It's 34.6% of all transactions that were entered into collapsed. Very high, very elevated number. Normal is in the 10, 12 kind of percent range. We're running almost 3 times what would be normal for back on market for closed or rather canceled contracts. Very significant issue when you're talking to real estate agents, including when you're talking to us. Please ask what those agents know about the back on market, what they can do to protect you from back on market issues, canceled contracts, because those are very impactful to sellers and buyers, negative in both instances. You want to make sure your agent's looking out for you and can help you with this. We very much are proactive in how we address contract problems, the potentials for problems, so that we are trying to pre-negotiate around all of the issues that may cause a contract to fail. It's not effective 100% of the time, but where the market is experiencing 34.6% failures on contracts, we're experiencing something like 3% failures on contracts. So we're 10 times better at protecting our clients, both listing clients and buyer clients, from the problems that are existing in the marketplace right now. Make sure you're talking to your agents about that. So let's turn our attention to condos, but before I do, again, I am Justin Miller. Please subscribe to our videos, smash the like button, hit the notification bell, and please share these videos with your friends, your neighbors, your colleagues, your family members, anyone who you think could gain from the knowledge that I share in these videos, the insights that are given here, as well as potentially the need to reach out to talk to a real estate agent to figure out how somebody could best position themselves in the marketplace. All right, condos. Same thing. Let's look at sale price first. Median sale price for condos, resale condos here in the Las Vegas Valley in October of 2023, $235,000. This was up $5,000 or 2.2% from $230,000 in September of 2023. This is also up 5.9% year over year. October last year, the median sale price was $222,000. So we're up $13,000 or 5.9% compared to that. Again, for comparison, where condos were up 5.9% year over year, townhomes were up 4.7%, and single family homes were up 1.7%. I do want to point out to you, it's interesting and it's divergent from what most other people are saying across all 3 market segments for Las Vegas resale real estate. October 2023, prices went up. And they went up even though interest rates were very high during the month of October. In fact, the last week of October getting to 7.90% according to the Mortgage Bankers Association. So very high interest rates and prices went up. So that's actually really great news. Now, what about demand? How did demand look in the condo space? 248 condos closed. That means buyer entered into a contract with the seller, went through the entire contract and closed on that transaction and now owns that condo. 248. This is down. It's down substantially. It's down 19.5% from the 308 that closed in September of 2023. This is down a little bit, down 11 units or 4.2% from 259 in October of 2022. So unlike the townhome space, which was perfectly flat, we did see demand deterioration appear in the condo space. Now, part of this may just be illusory, meaning the demand may still be there. It's just interest rates are so high that people have had to back away from the market for a period of time, waiting for interest rates to come back down. But we've seen a smaller number of closings, and so that's quite interesting and significant. This does indicate some weakness in demand, at least weakness in the apparent demand. Now, I do want to point out, however, with regard to pending contracts, those are contracts, again, that have been written, gone into escrow, but not yet closed. We had 283 in October of 2022 for condos. That is up 10 from the 273 that we saw in September, so up 3.7%. And it's up actually 41 pretty substantially, or 16.9% from the 242 contracts that were written and had not yet closed, pending contracts that we saw in October of 2022. So that's good news. Pendings, while below the average that we've seen over an extended period of time, actually were looking better than what we saw in closed transactions in October. Okay, so if that's the demand side, then what about the supply side for condos? How does that look? So condo supply had stabilized in September. We started to see the elimination of the drawdown in condo supply. So let's look at what happened in October. Condo supply, or for sale listed condos, 772 in October of 2023, and that's actually up. It's up 6.6%. So that's decent and healthy from the 724 that we saw in September. So now we've got a couple months of stabilizing, slightly increasing inventory in the condo space. Now, don't think this is a lot of inventory, though. We're actually down 40.6% from the 1,299 condos that were sitting in inventory at the end of October of last year. So this is still dramatically lower inventory. And in fact, we're running inventory that's looking like just about half of normal in the market for condos at this time. Now, what about newly listed resale condos, right? This is how we replenish inventory, because of course, demand is pulling inventory out of the market, and then some suppliers decide, it's taking too long to sell, they're not going to, or they've had a change in circumstance and they withdraw their condo. But most of the stuff that comes out of the market is going to be through purchases. Well, coming into the market, newly listed resale condos. That number, 463 for October of 2023, that is up 13.5% from the 408 newly listed condos that we saw in September of 2023. It's also up 15.2% from the 402 newly listed condos we saw last year in October of 2022. This suggests a decent recovery in new listings coming into the market, which is really good, and that's actually healthy in its increasing the actual amount of inventory that's sitting in the market, where inventory itself was able to rise by 6.6% month over month. Now, again, like I said, with townhomes, do be aware we are now in November, and we'll be going through the seasonally slowest time of year, November and December, for new listings every year. So expect that new listings will be coming down a little bit over the next 2 months, and that we may see inventory fall slightly, but inventory is actually stabilized in the condo marketplace, as we've seen in the townhome marketplace and the single family home market space somewhat. We've seen inventory a little bit weaker still in single family homes, but we're looking pretty decent in both sectors of the multifamily home environment here in the Las Vegas Valley. So really good news. Okay, so one more piece of information, and that is, again, this back on market or failed contracts number. That number for condos, 129 condos came back into the market. Contracts have been written, failed, collapsed. The escrow fell apart. That is 34.2% of condo contracts failed. Over a third of all of the contracts written on condos are collapsing. Very elevated number. Again, I caution you, when you're talking to a real estate agent, whether you're potentially going to be listing your condo or buying a condo, you want to make sure you're addressing this explicitly and openly upfront before you agree to work with anyone. What's an agent able to do for you to help shield your contract from the ills that exist out there in the marketplace at this time that are causing very elevated numbers of contracts to fail? That number should be, again, there's always contracts that fail. There's always failed escrows, and they exist for potentially a wide variety of reasons, but it's usually in the 10 to 12% range. Now contracts are failing for 1 or 2 dominant reasons, and they're failing at 3 times what they should be failing at. Very big problem in this market. And it's been a really big problem in this market since just before the pandemic closing. So this is something that any real estate agent who's actually actively engaged in the marketplace should understand and be able to deal with. And unfortunately, very clearly, most agents are not able to, and that's why we're seeing these massively high failure rates in the real estate market. So talk to the agent, see what they can do to protect your contract, what they can do to respond to challenges on the contract that may allow you to get through them. So protection proactively and protection reactively. And at the Chong Miller Group, as I said, in the townhome space, we're seeing failure rates on our own transactions that are less than 1/10 of what's going on in the overall market. So we've figured out how to deal with these kinds of issues, and we can help you, whether you're a seller listing your condo or a buyer buying a condo, wanting to buy a condo, get through the market with a successful transaction. Okay, I am Justin Miller. Please share these videos with your neighbors, your friends, your colleagues, your family members, anyone who you think might benefit from listening to us, talking with us, and be able to utilize some of the insights that I present in these videos. I will see you in the next one. Thank you.